On the day of the wedding, the man spread a white cloth on the bed, hoping that his wife would bleed. But the final result left him stunned. He then tore the white cloth apart in a frenzy, unleashing all his anger on his wife. "Ah! Where are your shoes?" The woman was beaten into unconsciousness. However, the man had no intention of letting her off that easily. The next morning, he went to his wife's family to demand answers. "What happened? I paid a fortune for a second-hand item." The cousin beside him looked utterly incredulous. But when he saw the husband's evasive gaze, he instantly understood everything. The woman's name was Zayunu. A few months ago, she was taken by traffickers to this vast desert. After many twists and turns, she ended up in the hands of a camel driver. Her fate was bound to be tragic. Zayunu didn't want to spend her life living in darkness without hope, so she took advantage of the camel driver's deep sleep and quietly snuck away. When the camel driver woke up, he found that Zayunu had vanished without a trace. "Hey, girl. You can't leave. Come back quickly. Your mother will eat you up." The young woman heard his shout and was about to come out. But unexpectedly, Luatuaku got angry again. "You son of a dog, I'll kill you. Come back quickly." And so, the young woman slept in the grass for the night. She only left after confirming that Luatuaku had gone far away. Faced with the vast Gobi Desert, the young woman momentarily lost her direction. Before long, she fainted on the ground. Fortunately, a passing farmer named discovered the fainted young woman. After confirming that she had just fainted, he took her back to his home. He instructed his wife to give her some dry food when she wakes up. However, upon seeing the young woman's delicate beauty, his wife showed a fleeting, unusual coldness on her face. When the young woman woke up, she told Lucy all about her ordeal. Lucy felt sorry for her, so he decided to let her stay temporarily. But his wife had her own plans. "In a couple of days, I'll visit my family. I'll find her a good family. Who knows, we might even earn some bride price. I think this could work out well. What do you know about women's issues?" However, at this moment, the young woman was completely unaware. To repay the debt of saving her life, he began to work tirelessly. He took on all the chores in Lucy's household as repayment. Little did he know, he had just escaped one danger only to walk into another. In order to send the young woman out with legitimacy, Lucy's wife wanted the young woman to acknowledge her as a cousin. The naive young woman thought they were treating her as family, so she happily agreed. And it was at this moment that his fate quietly began to change. Because sometimes beauty not only brings good fortune, but can also be the root of others' crimes. Since arriving here, the young woman had been constantly thinking of her elderly mother at home. But she also knew that she could no longer escape. She could only focus all her thoughts on how to settle down. What she didn't know was that Lucy had already developed sinister intentions towards her. Lucy's wife saw her as diligent and honest, but in reality, she was secretly unable to conceive. Lucy had tried multiple times to find a cure for her, but all efforts ended in failure. Moreover, he had repeatedly kept this a secret from her, and had been secretly involved with the hunter Tang San from the neighboring shore. Tang San was a strong man. He is ruthless. The people around him avoid him at all costs. Lucy knows about their sordid affair, but he can only seethe in silence. He has no choice but to endure this humiliation. One day, Lucy went out. Tang San came to the house again. This time, he immediately took a liking to the beautiful woman. He went straight to his cousin to ask for her price. This made his cousin very angry. But Tang San didn't care about that. He pulled out a bag of money and placed it in his cousin's hand. "Give her to me. I want her to bear me a son." "You can't do that." Tang sang, and again. "I will." Actually, Tang San has always had a dream. That is to have a son. He can no longer rely on his cousin. He can only place all his hopes on the beautiful woman. His cousin was unwilling at first, until she saw Lucy couldn't take her eyes off the beautiful woman. This made him furious. That night, the two had a heated argument. "Whoever you marry, it's still been years of wanting. You buy medicine to treat your illness. Humph, isn't it all just to have an heir? What good is a pig that can't bear sons? Are you going to look for that beast, Tang Tang? What good are you to me? What use do I have for you?" Meanwhile, the beautiful woman listened to the sounds coming from next door. Resentment. But now, she realized she could no longer change her fate. All she could do was hope that Tang San was a good man. The next morning, Tang San arrived. Upon seeing the beautiful woman in the room, he couldn't take his eyes off her. The two pieces of cloth represented the entirety of her bride price. They agreed that he would come to pick her up in 5 days. Soon, it was the night before her wedding. That night, a heavy rain fell. The air was thick with a heavy atmosphere. A conspiracy was brewing against the beautiful woman. Under the pretense of delivering a blanket, Lucy entered the beautiful woman's room. Looking at the beautiful woman lying on the bed, a surge of hatred filled his heart, and an overwhelming sense of grievance washed over him. He forcefully took her. By the time Lucy left, the beautiful woman was already in tears. The most precious thing in her life had been taken from her just like that. She had no idea what her future would hold. She was also afraid that Tang San would seek revenge on Lucy. She could only endure it herself. That day, the beautiful woman cried incessantly. Cousin is completely unaware of what happened last night. She keeps reassuring the bride that it will hurt the first time. Men like it when there's blood. All men are into this. After drinking 3 bowls of love wine, Tang San completed all the rituals after crossing the long bench. Then he picked up the bride and walked down the corridor without looking back. What happened next was the scene we saw at the beginning. Tang San stormed into Lucy's house in a fit of rage. He literally ripped the door frame off. From that moment on, the two families became enemies. Tang San is a man of misfortune. Years ago, he had a happy family. But one day, when he was out, a wild wolf broke into his home. It killed his wife. And his wife was pregnant. She was carrying an unborn child. Since then, it became a deep wound in Tang San's heart. He completely changed as a person. Every day, he took his shotgun to hunt down wolves. The bride was unaware of all this. She just wanted to live a peaceful life. She accepted her fate. Every day, she tidied up the house. She woke up early and worked hard to take care of Tang San. After having the bride, Tang San's life finally resembled that of a family. He was no longer met with cold stares from the bride. One day, while the bride was tidying up in the kitchen, exhausted, he fell asleep. A wolf's howl startled them awake. Seeing that Zayunu was not by his side, a wave of memories flooded Tang San's mind. He quickly grabbed his shotgun and headed outside. After confirming that Zayunu was safe, he finally couldn't hold back any longer. You must care for my son even more than I do. Life finally returned to normal. However, unexpected events were on the horizon. Fortunes can change in an instant. One day, Zayunu was shopping at the market. She encountered the camel trader who had previously abducted her. The trader recognized Zayunu immediately. He had lost 6 camels because of her before. A greedy desire for wealth surged within him. So, while Zayunu was gathering firewood, he planned to abduct her again. Fortunately, a passing man came to her rescue. Seeing Zayunu fainted, the man checked her pulse. He relaxed only after confirming she was okay. But at that moment, a gunshot rang out. It knocked the man's hat off. Tang San had returned. Fortunately, Zayunu woke up just in time. They saved me. The man didn't want to disturb her further as she woke. After informing her that she was pregnant, he rode away. Days passed by one after another. The belly of the beautiful woman gradually began to swell. But his longing for his hometown grew stronger. He often stared blankly at the big eyes flying south in the sky. Meanwhile, Tang Sanwei took good care of the beautiful woman. He no longer went hunting everywhere. So he joined the security team at the Jing public office. Not long after, the beautiful woman finally gave birth. It was a boy. This made Tang San very happy. He finally fulfilled his wish. He showered the child with love and affection. He also felt more warmth towards the beautiful woman. However, it seemed that heaven did not intend to let Tang San off so easily. It also seemed to be punishing him for his reckless behavior over the years. After they exchanged vows, they fell into a deep sleep. When the beautiful woman woke up 2 days later, that Tang San's foot was on the child. Oh no, oh no. Today. Ahahaha. Ahahaha. From Tang San's perspective, he had crushed his own son. This left him heartbroken, and the beautiful woman fell ill from excessive grief. After listening to a story, Lucy wanted to go see the beautiful woman. Even though his wife strongly opposed it, he couldn't shake off his concern. Looking at the sickly beauty lying in bed, Lucy felt an overwhelming sense of guilt. And at that moment, he revealed the truth of that night. It was I who harmed your cousin. I know you didn't tell him what happened. Your cousin only returned for the money. Unbeknownst to him, Tang San overheard everything, and it made him aware that it was Lucy who took the beauty's virtue. He thought Lucy would swallow his pride and beg for mercy. But unexpectedly, this time he stood his ground. So what if it's me? I have wronged your cousin. But I haven't wronged you. You act so tough in front of me. Then you take him. Take him away. And indeed, Lucy took the beauty away. On the way, seeing the weak beauty, Lucy felt even more heartbroken. Little did he know, Tang San was chasing after them. A shot hit Lucy in the leg. Then, just like on the day he married the beauty, he tried to carry the beauty away. And Lucy watched as this man took away his wife and woman. A surge of vengeful determination rose within him. He charged at Tang San with a dagger. The outcome was predictable. He was fatally stabbed in the throat by Tang San. Then they placed his body in the car. Let him leave alone. Lucy's death completely shocked his cousin. In a fit of rage, he stormed into the security team. He began to question Tang San, asking why he killed him. Why did you take his woman? And then kill him? You have such a cruel heart. Why? Tang San knew he had done wrong but did not argue back. But his cousin's actions had already angered the other security guards. They dragged him into a small room and assaulted him. Tang San felt a pang of guilt. He wanted to save him, but he was outnumbered. He gave up on the thought. By the time his cousin came out, she had completely lost her mind. Having lost her husband, she was now alone and helpless. Even the village children began to bully her. Yet even so, she did not forget Tang San. Tang San, you want me, right? Tang San, take me home. I have a child now. Tang San watched his cousin leave, his feelings complicated. After Zayunu learned about her cousin's situation, she brought some things to visit him. However, no matter how well he did, it couldn't erase the hatred he felt for Zayunu inside. Watching Zayunu kneeling on the ground, praying for her deceased son, he unexpectedly began to challenge Zayunu's heart. Zayunu, I have a child now. What about your child? This understanding made Zayunu think of her son again. He wanted to go to the grave to see his son, but unexpectedly, he encountered the security team. They were dragging a prisoner and torturing him. When the man completely lost his voice, only then did they leave. Zayunu, who witnessed all this, waited until the security team was far away. And when she saw the man's face clearly, she realized it was the man who had saved her back then. Seeing that the man was still alive, she took him back to her home. After being cared for by Zayunu, the man quickly regained consciousness. During their conversation, that the man's surname was Dong. He was a teacher. He had been hunted down for resisting the local tyrant, which led to him being pursued. Meanwhile, Tang San was unaware of all this. When he returned, he thought Zayunu was secretly seeing another man. Anger surged in his heart. He immediately pulled out his gun, intending to kill Mr. Dong. The young woman desperately tried to protect him. She even pressed the gun to her own chest. Only then did Tang San manage to calm down. Just kill me. Go ahead, kill me and my unborn child. He is my savior. Tang San. Take a good look at him. You're as vibrant as a red willow. He's the one who saved me. Tang San is a grateful and loyal person. He had no choice but to let Mr. Dong go. But what he didn't expect was that the security team actually showed up at that moment. Tang San knew they were ruthless criminals. If they found out Mr. Dong was here, none of the three of them would escape. To protect the child in the young woman's womb, he decided to swap clothes with Mr. Dong. At least he could distract them. After the child is born, tell him, I am Lee Zayunu, and Mr. Dong and I just escaped halfway. Then we heard gunshots in the distance. It turned out that Tang San had already been captured. The young woman insisted on going back to check on Mr. Dong. She wanted to save him, but the young woman was resolute in her decision. Meanwhile, Tang San has already been executed by the security team. His body was taken away by his deranged cousin. He laid Tang San's body on the bed, holding tightly onto the man he once loved. The fallen clothes landed right on the candle's flame. In an instant, flames erupted. The fire consumed everything. All the love and hatred that once filled the house, in this moment, turned to ashes. By the time the courtesan arrived, the entire house had been completely engulfed by the fire. However, his suffering was far from over. He was tied to a pillar by the security team along with Fei Chui, left to suffer under the scorching sun. Later, he was saved by the raging fire that was disappearing into the depths of the desert. In the days that followed, Mr. Dong once came looking for him, but there was no news of the courtesan anymore. The film, Courtesan, tells an old story from decades ago. It was just before the liberation. Society was feudal and outdated. Women were merely tools for reproduction. Their lives are something we can hardly imagine like today. Fortunately, that era has passed. Today, women have lifted half the sky. There are no longer feudal social systems. He to she.